Welcome to another Watson Brothers Stats video for August 2022. And as you can tell, I'm doing this one solo because, believe it or not, my brother still needs to put more fish in his freezer. So we'll let you know how he does next month. I'm down here today right by Gyro Beach, which on one side of me to the right has Movella, which is a huge complex involving 3 towers, a pool. That is well under construction. And if you were to look over my shoulder to the left, you see Caban, which is on the corner of Richter and Lakeshore. And that one is well underway as well. They started on foundation works there. So we're starting to see a lot of growth. It's all coming back. And a lot of these things, like this, I know is 3/4 way sold out. Caban is almost, well, it is 100% sold out. So their buyers are coming and they're just building. But we're, 2.5 years away from this inventory actually hitting the marketplace. So there is lots of room for growth right now. The stats this month are pretty interesting again. I'm just going to highlight, as I always do, the numbers, but then from those numbers I want to talk a little bit about where we think things are going. So if we look at the overall numbers, units sold down 26%, units and dollar volume is down 24%. Again, those two numbers are in lockstep with each other, and that's important because we have them falling down at the same rate. One is not outpacing the other. So the sales are not outpacing the dollars, which means that prices are holding. And when people say the market's down, we still have got $3.7 billion in sales so far in the Okanagan this year, which is an astounding number. That would have been a record 2 years ago. It was only because of last year that number is not a record. If we move on and look at some of the individual categories, the inventory, the thing that you really need to understand is inventory in the 3 main categories that Barrett and I follow: residential single-family homes, townhomes, and apartments. Each one of those categories have almost double the inventory now than they did 1 year ago. And that's actually what we believe is a good thing because it is going to help balance out the market. Before, if you remember, we were in a complete seller's market, and now we're actually moving into a balanced market, actually moving into a buyer's market, which is what we said last month. So it waffles between a balanced market, a buyer's market. We'll see how things settle out as we move farther into the year. But if we look at some of the other numbers that have come up, and if you compare single family prices, how they're holding versus townhouses versus strata houses, there is an opportunity out there, because if we look at houses, single family homes, they are off at an amount of about 3% versus what their list price was. Now, if you compare that to townhomes, they're off about 1.5%, and apartments are off 3%. So you might say to yourself, well, if I'm looking to try to get a deal and I've been trying to get into the marketplace, it looks like the townhouse market in that 600, 700, 750 range is probably where you're going to get the best opportunity to negotiate and get a price that maybe you can afford now, but couldn't afford 6 months ago. And that is where the advantage is, I think, in this marketplace, is that it has opened up opportunities for buyers that couldn't get into the marketplace before. A couple of other things that we need to keep in mind and that we're watching. The central bank will announce what we believe will be a rate increase. I think most people are saying it's going to be a 0.5 point to 0.75%. Again, we believe the government's missed the boat. Their inflation's already started to curve, and we're coming down. So you'd think interest rates would start to plateau, but they've probably got 1 or 2 more rises in them just to make sure they do kick inflation off the table. The other thing of note is that inflation is beginning to stabilize. And you can see that every day you go to the gas station. We're down about 30 cents a liter. All of those things are starting to reduce pressure on the inflation rate. Once inflation comes down, consumer confidence will come back, and we believe the market will get on a tear. And the other thing that's going to lead to our increased business this fall, I believe, is that we've just come off in Kelowna, one of the best summers we've had here in years. There's been zero smoke. The weather's been perfect, and people have been traveling again. Our town has been busy, and actually I'm doing this a day after Labor Day, and it's actually nice to be able to drive down the road and take a sigh of relief. We do love the tourists, believe me, and we love the economic benefits that they bring, but man, it gets busy here. And so now we've got a little bit of breathing room. Kids are back to school. People's work schedules are back. We noticed, I was up on our construction site up at the university this morning. All the guys are working. They haven't had that many guys up there in weeks because they're all back from vacation. So everybody's working again. We'll see things turn around again. And we look forward to stats next month, and we'll bring you those stats. And remember, if you want to follow the stats a little more closely, or there's anything you see attached to this email that you're getting, is all our individual stats. You can drill down if you're so inclined. If you have any questions about real estate, give us a call anytime, 250-712-2222, and next month you may see my brother.